I'm gonna read the super chat just because I want the people to know that I actually do read the super chat. Space Cowboy 17 actually brought up a thing that I wanted to kind of talk about in this podcast. Um, some people were complaining that I was making shorter videos, and especially the latest Midway video. So I kind of want to talk about that. And sorry, guys, if you're gonna have to listen to this. We can get to. Well, I'll try to make this quick.
All right, so that was the So That Happened podcast. We're done now.
This is now my
I'm
thing.
gonna tell you, we're now doing 10-minute long podcasts.
No, we're gonna go back to our conversation. I just wanted to bring this up so people weren't annoyed. But anyway, I'm just because I do shorter videos occasionally, doesn't mean that that's going to be how the format is forever. So just because I did two short videos back to back doesn't really mean there's going to be a pattern. It just means sometimes scenarios aren't meant for 10-minute videos. Sometimes they're not big things. But it's still fun to make videos and still make content. So sometimes I'll just make 5-minute videos and they'll be shorter, but if you're talking about stuff like Mussolini in Italy or the Battle of Midway, there just isn't that much content to talk about. And there's also a risk that people are just not going to click on the video. There's a lot of stuff that you always are thinking about when making a video of, okay, is this too specific? Are people going to watch this? I can tell by the views on this Battle of Midway video that many people didn't watch it. And if I would have dedicated 10 minutes to that topic, that would have been another video that I wouldn't have been able to make. And me and Tiger Star are working on a very important video right now.
Yes.
And it's more than 10 minutes. So that's the one that I'm really focusing on. If I would have focused more time on the Midway video, then I would have risked boring people on a topic that didn't really have much content, and I would have taken away from a topic that actually needs... just the way that I'm editing it, and I'm focusing on it, it needs time. I would rather dedicate more time to that than the Midway thing. Anyway, so...
Yeah, well, there's something to say to that, too, because... I do a lot of research about social media and growing YouTube stuff because I'm trying to learn how to actually do this thing. And there's a social media guru named Amy Schmidhauer. I think she changed her name. She got married last year, but I can't remember what to. Anyways, she was saying that there's like different types of categories of YouTube videos that really work, and one of them is the short 5-minute video, which you should do every once in a while, just to the fact that you can garner outside people to find your stuff easier and watch your stuff, because if you
10-minute videos,
you're more likely to watch the 5-minute than the 10-minute.
Yeah, and it doesn't seem like it's that much of a difference, but it is, because a 10-minute video is it's a big commitment for somebody that's just casually browsing. And I can just tell from the analytics that 10-minute videos are good for a really hardcore audience, and I think I've made 10-minute videos for the last year nonstop. I think these last two shorter videos, people are complaining about them, but this is like the shortest videos I've made in like 2 years. So it's not like it's a trend. It's not like people are saying, oh, Alternate History Hub's going downhill after I released a 20-minute video like 2 weeks ago and just so happened to have two short videos after. It's like,
meanwhile,
it's not a trend.
Videos are under 2 minutes, and then like every once in a while I have a video over 5, maybe 10, like once a month.
Yeah, and it's like, I like making content that maybe is pretty specific. And if something's very specific, I'm not going to dedicate 10 to 15 minutes on it, because a lot of people aren't going to click on that. If they do, and usually if it's a more specific topic, there isn't a lot to talk about. So it kind of works out in the end. If people have a problem with that, there's going to be another 10-minute video that'll come out the next week or 2 weeks after that. So that's my whole reasoning for that. So if the Midway video I actually did have a problem with, I felt maybe it was a little bit too short, but that's just because that's the topic of the Battle of Midway. There's reasons why I had that topic. I wanted to do another topic, but there were other forces in play that I did that topic. But in the end,
World of Tanks. You play World of Tanks.
Oh my god.
World of Tanks.
But no. Anyway, that wasn't the whole reason. The Battle of Midway was a good idea. It just turned out when I like committed to the idea, there wasn't a whole lot to do. There was some stuff that maybe could have been like if the U.S. lost, then it would have delayed the Pacific War. America would have given more effort in the Pacific War, and perhaps Nazi Germany would have gotten the nuke. But that was like there was like so much of an if to that. I didn't know if that even like if I would have went down that path, it could have been completely wrong, and I would have just dedicated 10 minutes to a scenario that's completely wrong, and the U.S. would have won in the Pacific anyway. So anyway,
plus you've already done the Nazis winning World War II thing. But I do have to say, for alternate history fans out there, I just have to get this off my chest. The Germans were not going to discover the nuclear bomb. They gave up. They gave up midway through. Yeah. It was not a thing that would have been possible to happen. It just wouldn't.
Yeah,
it's just not a thing that was going to happen.
Well, even I said that Japan wasn't going to win the war. No matter what, against America, against the industrial might that was the United States, there was no way Japan was going to win. And
like the Battle of Midway is one of those things that technically it's a turnaround point of the war, but only technically. Like there is literally like nothing about Midway where it's like, oh, it's the max Japan versus the max America, and America barely won or anything like that. It's only a turning point based on a technicality, because even if they would have won that, they would have lost the next battle, or if that battle never would have happened, they would have lost a battle somewhere else eventually. It's just
my air just turned on for some reason.
There's stuff about like how the thing about these like World War II and World War I specifically, where they're like these total wars where it's basically economies fighting each other. Individual battles don't mean as much as we like to when we retroactively try to write stories about these things.
Very few battles.
Like it's not like war in like the ancient times and like the Middle Ages. One battle could have turned things around in a huge way because battles were small, and it was all about like raising levies and stuff. But in like the industrial age, where you have this steady stream of manufactured goods and people and things like that, like it's like an individual battle doesn't mean all that much. But the thing is that our monkey brains like to think about events when we write stories, and those kinds of wars resist our urge to narrate, and so we keep thinking of battles like it's like some war from like the 18th century or something, but really no individual battles mean that much unless there's something really weird going on.
Yeah. Anyway, what's it called? Somebody asked why you say Japan was going to lose the war. Yeah, Japan was going to lose, obviously, because the U.S. was an industrial might. Japan was not, and it's simple math. If Japan lost a boat, let me say it. If Japan lost a boat, there was no way they're going to rebuild that boat. If America lost a boat, they could replace it with 10 or 20. That's just the way that it was. Japan was the size of one U.S. state. And plus, even if they were might, they were not the industrial power. They didn't have the factories or the resources that the United States did. In fact, the whole reason why Japan attacked America in the first place in Pearl Harbor was because America embargoed them. They cut off their oil supply. So it was either Japan expand, or they try to take America out of the war because they didn't have oil to build their boats anymore.
Yep.
Yeah, once around the time when the nuclear bombs went off at the end of when they went off in 1945, Japan had a oil reserve of 6 days remaining. Some people would say that would mean that the Japanese were pretty much forced to surrender and that the nuclear bombs were kind of an excessive force thing, but
we wouldn't know that.
It doesn't even matter with the nuclear bomb. It's just, even if we didn't use the nuclear bomb, still would have simply outcompeted them and beat them. That's the reason why the Battle of Midway was so significant, was I mean, it's considered significant because it was when the Japan really started losing the war. But the thing was is that that battle could have happened any time from 1942 to 1945. It was like Japan was basically an empire with a glass jaw. If you would have hit them, there was no way they could have recovered. And
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, America would have lost the Battle of Midway, but there would have been another Battle of Midway along the line. And plus, there's even an interesting thing that people were saying, oh, there's no way that Midway could have, like, Midway would have been invaded by Japan and lost no matter what. Japan was horrible with amphibious attacks. They were, especially even reading into leading up to the Battle of Midway, they were not prepared in any way to actually go and attack the island when they did. The entire sort of battle itself was just because of one ambitious naval commander, which was hilarious because people were saying Japan had better naval commanders than the United States during the war, which made me laugh because the entire reason why Japan lost the Battle of Midway was because they had horrible leadership from the Japanese Navy. But basically, their whole idea for the Battle of Midway was, hey, let's take the advantage, let's press the attack, and go take this random island. But they didn't actually prepare to invade the island in the first place. Even if they did prepare to invade the island, the United States had more troops and more supplies on it to successfully defend it. I mean, even by the way that America and Japan throughout the war, Japan always had less troops than the Japanese, and they still won. So imagine if it was Japan with less troops and America with a defending base. I mean, there's no way they would have been annihilated no matter what. And the thing was, is like, the reason why that wasn't a 10-minute video was because it's boring explaining that. You know, it's not. It gets to the heart. It gets to the heart of it just saying they get absolutely destroyed because there's so many reasons why they would be. And you know, I'm like, am I in the wrong here for not going through step by step why it would have been, like, you know?
No, I think you're worried about this too much. I think that
exactly.
scripts are the length that they should be, and to artificially make it short or long would make it of lower quality. You know, you wrote it and it's what it was. I'm sure you didn't intend for it to be a 5-minute video. You just wrote what was interesting and you got to where you were.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So that was the thing. That I wanted to bring that up.